So I asked you guys at like 3 a.m. last night what season you guys enjoyed most from For Honor. And I asked this because I planned on talking about it in an upcoming video, but I wasn't expecting so many people to say season 1 and 2 were their favorite seasons. I knew there'd be a lot of you, yes, but I didn't think it'd almost be a third of you. And while I'd rank season 1 super high up on a list if I were ordering them, I think some people may have forgotten what season 1 and 2 were really like. I'd argue that if seasons 1 and 2 killed it, like they were fast at addressing problems and made better decisions, For Honor would still be pretty popular today, or at least more popular than it is today. So in this video, I want to talk about the beloved good old days and sort of see how far we've came. I'm not going to go too deep into any one thing, otherwise we'd be here for a while, so let's get right into it. The first thing that I see a lot of you saying is that you enjoyed it because no one knew what they were doing. And that's true. Literally no one knew what they were doing. Most of the gameplay that'll be going on in the background is from season 1, and it's sort of funny to watch and see how much better literally everyone has gotten. Surviving a gank was something super special back then, and nowadays it's just normal play given that your indicators work anyways. Blocking was optional, and parrying meant that you were already on another level. If you were parrying during the first 2 weeks, you were basically untouchable. But there were things like the pre-nerf shoulder bash, there was guard break off parry, backdash abuse, tons of bugs, broken matchmaking, no dedicated servers, constant crashing and disconnects. There were issues with steel, people hated ledging, there were speed build Orochis, maxed out throw distance Shigokis and warlords. Remember that one duel map that was just a small bridge so people would have to go fight in this small little corner? The attacks were painfully slow, which I mean, look at how fast the game is now, and revenge was insane. There were tons of problems, and looking back at it really made me laugh as I was putting this video together because of how much of a mess For Honor was. My favorite being that Warlord's headbutt would knock you down if he had popped revenge. I do understand where people are coming from though. The beta and season 1 were fantastic. I remember I would look forward to going home after work and school just to play For Honor for hours into the night because there was really nothing like it. And I mean, there still is nothing like it, and it's a shame that this game got the treatment that it did. I mean, everyone took the opportunity to just rip into For Honor because, I mean, let's be honest, when it comes to gaming journalism or coverage, we all know that it's popular to be negative and critical, and For Honor deserved its fair bit of criticism. I remember people saying that this game was dead after only a couple weeks. Literally after about 3 weeks or so into this game's life, I saw people saying that the game was done for. Mainly because no one could play the game with all the connection issues. Article after article, video after video, people warned of For Honor. And then season 2 released and basically sealed the deal at the time. I think that the blackout was supposed to commence at the beginning of April, about a month and a half after the game had released. That's how quickly things went downhill. And that blackout's goal was to try and force UB to communicate more clearly with players and more often, address the amount of time it takes to earn everything in the game, which I think was like 2 years of non-stop play, and of course the matchmaking and disconnects. Then the blackout was called off because it was sort of dumb, and UB did do something about the steal problem. Since then, I think I've seen threats of another blackout show up about 3 or 4 times, and the most recent reason was because of Ubisoft speed, but I still think a blackout is just dumb. Season 2 was probably the worst time in For Honor's life. Shinobi and Centurion released to an incredible amount of backlash. Centurion because if you weren't playing near perfectly, you were going to get trapped into his cutscene for about 70% of your health. He was created to fight against turtles, which I mean was a good idea because back then a lot of people were talking about the turtle meta. And now I mean, he is a turtle, he has to turtle up to win. Plus, back then he had his infinite wall splat, and made 4 is a complete nightmare if there were 2 or more Centurions on the same team because they could lock you into a chain together, and there was literally nothing you could do about it until you died. Even if you got revenge, you would continue to be trapped, and it was really annoying. And Shinobi was basically untouchable. The release day kick was just stupid. It was way too safe. He controlled fights with his empty 50-50s, and encouraged more turtling. I think after these two released is when For Honor really started losing its footing, because that's when it started to really stand out to us that Ubisoft was doing a bad job at handling the game, and they were heading the ship into the wrong direction. The data meme also started back then, and the updates didn't. They wanted to start buffing everyone rather than nerfing, and that never really happened. And to this day, we're still hearing that they want to buff everyone. It's been 6 seasons since they brought that up, and now that the Wu Lin are here, we're still waiting on it. And around season 3, after that Hero Series nightmare that happened, was when the game was like finished in the eyes of everyone who didn't actively play For Honor at that time. We all know that thing was a complete joke in literally every single way except in presentation. That tournament is basically a permanent scar on For Honor and highlights a lot of what was wrong in the said good old days of For Honor, and whoever fanned the flames on that one, pointing out the flaws of the game, was a complete asshole. Now, back then, the hype was real for the game, and the community felt a lot larger than it does now. It felt like there was still some hope for Honor, whereas nowadays it sometimes feels as though this game is literally just dragging along. And we've seen so many streamers leave, so many YouTubers leave, and a lot of players in general leave, but they're being replaced by newer players who hopped into the game at its best, at least speaking from a technical standpoint, and that's not a bad thing. I just can't help but to wish that the launch for this game did better. I don't want to call them the good old days, but For Honor provided one of the best experiences I've ever had playing a video game. I do think it's better that the player base has improved over time, but there was something about those first few weeks that was great. When the game was popular on Twitch and people didn't just toss For Honor to the side as a dead game when you bring it up. I think the reason it's viewed so positively by those looking back on it is because people just played the game to have fun. Sure, there were bad things, but for the most part, people were just enjoying For Honor and having a good time being a knight or a samurai or a Viking. There were 12 heroes, 2 of them were insanely good, 2 of them were very good, and then there was the rest, and not too many people really thought about it. And it's much harder to just sit down and really enjoy For Honor when you've been dealing with the exact same problems for almost 2 years now. I think the only thing they've fixed really fast was Warden's one-hit kill glitch, and other than that, it's been a snail's pace from UB. I do think a lot of people forgot about all the problems the game faced, but I doubt they really care. I also prefer Season 1 over Season 8, so, I can't blame you. I'm not sure if I prefer it over Season 5 though, because Season 5 was great, and I'm having a tough time putting Season 1 above Season 5, just because for once in For Honor's life, Season 5 made it seem like there was hope for the game again with those 3 big reworks and 2 adjustments. It really made the game feel fresh, and UB hasn't been able to live up to that since. At least that's how I see it. And I know that Season 8 brought in so much more with Marching Fire, but I don't know, I just prefer the Season 5 treatment on 5 more heroes over the Wu Lin. And that's not me hating on the Wu Lin or anything, I'm just saying that they're not my type. I honestly probably won't pick up any more of the Wu Lin heroes, and I really hope that whatever's in store for the year the Harbinger is more engaging than the Wu Lin. If they would have just kept heading in the direction they were going with Season 5, this game would be so much better today, especially if they just sped up. I would love to play Breach if Warden, PK, and Valk were reworked properly, and rather than the Wu Lin, it would have been amazing to see Raider, Lawbringer, Armusha, and Centurion given fully fleshed out reworks. But let's be honest here, you can't really sell a rework the way you can with 4 brand new heroes, especially if your game mode that you're promoting is free for everyone. But I just think that would have been great. The Season 6 and 7 reworks were a little light when you look back on them, but I guess it's better than nothing unless you count Peacekeeper. Now, what I don't agree with are the people who are telling me that the only reason they preferred the game before was because the Wu Lin didn't exist and break the game. I don't think that the Wu Lin broke the game at all. They really are pretty balanced. They've just made the game a bit less enjoyable and play differently. By all means, the Wu Lin are good additions to For Honor. I can't undersell them, and you shouldn't just say that they're broken outright. Sure, Jang Jun has some bad animations and they hit you early, and Shaolin is annoying, but he can be beaten. And Nusha may be the face of what annoyance is on console, but I really don't think that they're broken. I know people will never get used to them. I feel like the Wu Lin will be forever hated by some, and to others they'll just be an annoyance, but I don't think you can pin For Honor's shortcomings to the Wu Lin. Yubi said that they think the Wu Lin are fine, and we'll probably only see adjustments coming to JJ and Shaolin for damage reasons, and if we're lucky, we'll see these changes before the end of 2020. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. Seeing all the responses from you guys really made me want to take some time to look back on the game, and I've got to say, I've had a good time laughing at all the BS this game has put us through. I think we can all agree that the game does actually work now, and it's up to Yubi to make it better, but at this point, we have to just wait for entire seasons to go through before anything meaningful happens. And I know that sounds negative, but I mean, have they proven otherwise? This wasn't the video I was talking about before, this is just an extra, so be on the lookout for the next 2 or 3. If you do like the For Honor content, I'd really appreciate if you clicked on the sub button and ring the bell. I don't really know why, but recently you guys have been giving me a lot more support than usual, and it's been great, and I really do appreciate everyone who watches these videos. As for what I'm playing right now, I've been grinding out Red Dead a lot. I think I have almost 20 hours put into the online, which is sad, but there's a point I want to make, and I may post it tomorrow. I do want to start posting content that's a little outside of the box every once in a while, but it will not be placing the For Honor content, so don't worry about that. Anyways, I do want to hear your opinion on this, so talk to me down in the comments. I really want to know how you guys felt about the game back then versus how you feel about it now. And as always, if you agree with me or just like the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you know, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.